Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something that affects all of us, the connection between gender, the technology that basically runs our lives, and, the whole path toward empowerment.
So let me start with a question. We tend to think technology is, neutral. A tool's just a tool, right? But what if it's not? What if the code, the algorithms, and the gadgets we build actually have the hidden biases of their creators baked right in? That's the idea we're going to challenge today. To get what I mean, let's go back to the Challenger disaster. See, that wasn't just about a mechanical part failing. It was really about a failure to listen. Engineers knew it was a risk, they voiced their concerns, but those ethical warnings got pushed aside. It's just a tragic, powerful lesson in how one single blind spot, ignoring the experts, can lead to absolute catastrophe.
And that idea, that fatal blind spot, that's exactly what we're talking about here. Because, just like that mission, a lot of the technology we create and use every single day has a massive blind spot of its own. And that blind spot is very often centered on gender.
This brings us to a really key distinction. We all have our personal ethics, right? That moral compass we get from our family, our culture, our experiences. But professional engineering ethics, that's a whole different level. These are formal codes meant to protect the public and ensure accountability. They often demand that engineers look past their own personal views to serve a greater good.
So if we're going to tackle these blind spots, we first have to make sure we're all speaking the same language. Let's just quickly get on the same page with a few key definitions that are really fundamental to this whole conversation. Okay, first up is sex. This is pretty straightforward. It refers to the biological characteristics, like chromosomes and anatomy, that are usually assigned when someone is born. But that's totally different from gender. Gender is a social and cultural thing. It's about the roles, the behaviors, the identities that a society creates. And it's not a simple binary. It really exists on a whole spectrum.
And somewhere on that spectrum is our gender identity. This is super personal. It's your own internal sense of who you are, which might line up with the sex you were assigned at birth, or it might not.
And finally, how we show that identity to the rest of the world. Through our clothes, our hair, our actions. That's our gender expression. Getting these differences is absolutely crucial to seeing where our tech can and does go wrong.
All right, now that we've got the language down, let's take a look back. Because here's the thing. Even with all the stereotypes and barriers that have been around forever, women have always been at the heart of science and tech, even when their stories were completely erased or just ignored.
I mean, this history is just full of these incredible minds who pushed us all forward, completely against the odds. Think about Ada Lovelace in 1843. She basically envisioned modern computing and wrote the world's first ever algorithm, 100 years before a machine even existed that could run it. Or fast forward to 1983 when Kalpana Chawla smashed barriers to become the first Indian-American woman in space. Their stories are this amazing reminder that innovation has never, ever belonged to just one gender, even when the history books tried to tell us it did.
But even with that incredible history, what's happening today when our technology starts to pick up on society's oldest, ugliest biases? Well, the results aren't just annoying. They can be downright dangerous.
So let me ask you something. When you use your phone to unlock it with your face, or you go to the doctor for a checkup, have you ever actually stopped to think, who was this tech really designed for? Who was the default person in the engineer's mind?
The reality is, a lot of our tech wasn't built for everybody. Facial recognition, often way less accurate for women and people with darker skin tones because it was trained on data that was mostly white and male. For decades, medical research was based almost entirely on male bodies, leading to horrible misdiagnoses for women. There are even AI hiring tools that were caught discriminating against female applicants just because the AI learned from biased hiring data from the past. This isn't some random bug, it's a flaw in the design itself.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty bad. But here's the good news, the really powerful part. This is not an impossible problem. We engineered our way into this mess, which means we can absolutely engineer our way out.
And the foundation for that change is built on 3 core values. First, equity. This isn't about treating everyone the same. It's about fairness, about recognizing that different people have different needs. Second, diversity. This means we have to actively value and include people of all gender identities. And third, justice. This is about actually doing the work to fix past wrongs and build systems that stop discrimination from happening again.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it's about building a whole system of support. You start with gender-balanced hiring to get people in the door. Then you protect them with a zero-tolerance policy for harassment. You help them grow with mentorship programs. And finally, you hold yourself accountable by doing regular gender audits to find the gaps and, well, fix them.
And this brings us right back to that powerful idea we started with. Real ethical engineering isn't just about following the rules or doing what the law says. It's about choosing to do what is right and what is just, because it's the right thing to do. It's having the moral guts to engineer a better, fair world for every single person.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. We've seen how bias can be literally built into the tools and systems all around us, but we've also seen the ethical roadmap for taking it apart. So the question is, what's next? As technology keeps changing at this insane speed, what is the next big ethical barrier that we, all of us, need to engineer our way through together?